Hello everybody, my name is Aceface. Today we're going to be testing out a high-grade Hydra Cerberus fit where the fit itself is very cheap, and this is for T4 Darks. The reason I want to do this is because I've made previous videos discussing that I want to make a missile line of ships from T0 to T6 Abyss, and I want to make some stepping stones between like T4 and T5 and T6 area, like the higher tier Abyss sites. And my end goal for such a series is to have a Cerberus with high-grade Hydras in the end, like a very blink Cerberus. So then I was thinking, okay, I could then have a Cerberus or an Onyx for T4s, because an Onyx works really good in T4s. And then I had an Onyx fit that I've tested that has high-grade Hydras and works really well for doing the T4s. Then I was thinking maybe I could have a Cerberus with high-grade Hydras that is able to do the T4s as well really good. Because the thing is, it's got like it's a very cheap ship here, so if you were to somehow get ganked, it's not the whole world. Hopefully, if you get out with your pod alive, it's not the whole world. I think that it is very good to have a ship that is very cheap with a good pod, because you're sort of able to make your ship in a certain way that it's very cheap, but maybe certain qualities that'll make it really good. Like, it's got a very good tank, this ship right here. It's not using any webifiers. The same thing with the Onyx Sphere as well. It only uses one webifier, it doesn't use two webifiers, because the high-grade Hydras allow your missiles to apply so much better. So this is sort of a way to be a building block towards T6, because say okay, I'm trying to get my Cerberus to be T6 capable. Maybe I can start off with buying the high-grade Hydra implants. Then I could maybe have like a cheap Cerberus right here, and I could then do T4s in this, while not risking a whole lot in terms of like the ganks, and still being able to do them in a pretty safe manner. And that's the thing I want to test out. I want to test out how good the application is here, because right now, okay, I'm running a pretty expensive pod. The whole point is like I'm buffing as much as I can in the pod rather than the ship, and it's supposed to be like a stepping stone. So then, like, when I eventually get more A scale, but then be gradually upgrading my ship to, like, maybe pith them something multi-spectrums, maybe get better shield booster, etc, etc. Like, I'll make lots of upgrades as time goes on. So this is what I have, assuming I were to have the pod in place. So we'll get to work. It has got some benefits over the Onyx that I had before. It's got a bit better capacitor, and I think the tank is a little bit worse, but the DPS, I believe, is a bit better. So I'm actually going to add some missiles here. Oof, the damage, right? Oof, that's some serious damage. We'll add some missiles, because we need Scourge Rage, and then we also need Caldari Scourge, and then we need the Mjolnir Rage for the Rogue Battleship. And then we might want to have Nova Rage. I'm thinking Nova Rage. We want Nova Rage. I'm thinking for Triglavians, No, I don't think we'll need that. So I just think we'll need these ones right here. Okay, we'll add the 10,000 here, if we have enough space here. Oh, the Cerberus has a big cargo bay. Didn't realize. And then we'll add some drones here, just to have some extra drones. Hornet II. Gustav Manfred, a popular YouTuber for doing high tier Abyss, he's made a Cerberus fit with high-grade Hydras. This fit is a lot inspired by him, because he uses a high-grade Hydra implant set, 2 multi-spectrums and 2 rigs here. This is a lot cheaper because it's like made for T4s, T4 Darks in particular. So we've got 2 heavy assault missiles, and you've got this reactor control circuit or reactor control unit allowing us to fit it, because we've got very big power grid issues on the Cerberus. If you're curious, the PIFA stats are here. This is actually, the module's a little bit wrong right here. It should not be this. It should be GIST B-type. GIST B-type large shield booster and reactor control unit. This is the fit we got right here. It's got, like, not crazy tank, but in the dark sides you don't usually need so crazy tank. I was also thinking, and you can see the price right here is not particularly high, like 388 million is not particularly high. The main price is in the implant set. Another option right here to upgrade this a bit could be to go with a Pith X type large shield booster. This is a good shield booster that you can use for even T6 capable ships. Like, if you were to do T6, you would like upgrade these multi-spectrums to really good ones. But Pith X type large shield booster is probably one of the end game kind of large shield boosters. If you were to acquire this, you would be on a very good path to getting to T6 Abyss. This ship also is it's got really good tank. The only downside is it's not got as good capacitor, because the Pith type shield boosters are a lot less cap efficient than the GIST ones. So that's why we have a lot of capacity spare. But we also have more shield boosting spare. And it's also a bit more pricey, because this booster is more pricey, and then the Dark Blood reactor control unit is required to be able to fit all this. So 100 million extra ISK for a bit better shield boosting capabilities, I think that this would be overall a bit better for the T4 Abyss, because even though it's not cap stable, you're usually not continuously taking damage in the dark side. So that's why it's good to have a little burst tank in the dark sides, in my opinion. So we'll get to work right here. I just want to save this fit so that I've got all our modules in place. We can actually fit this to buy these ammunition types because I've not bought them. Okay, Raging Dark, let's go. The reason why I don't like to use Cerberus for T4s without bling implants is because it's very hard to get a Cerberus to do this kind of stuff without blinging. I've mentioned this before, but it's just that you need to bling the Cerberus to make it perform really good, at least in my experience. Maybe there's some way you can do it without it, but it's just got so limiting power grid. So if I were to then not have these multi-spectrums, because the whole point we've got two multi-spectrums is because we're able to sacrifice the mid slots. Like if I didn't have the high-grade Hydra implants right here, I'd have to swap these multi-spectrums for webifiers to be able to apply, otherwise I won't be able to apply. Because of the high-grade Hydra implants, I'm able to use the multi-spectrums instead of webifiers, and that's how I'm able to fit this all. If we were to not have the high-grade Hydra implants, we then have webifiers here, we had really little tank. And like there, we would have to maybe use then high-grade crystal implants to sort of compensate, and even then it will not be that good tank because you need some resist to be able to be decent tank. It just gets really complicated unless you bling. And then also the low slots right here are quite limited because you have to have this reactor control unit because the power grid is pretty low, because you would have to, by using the heavy assault missile tech 2s, they use so much power grid because this ship naturally has low power grid. It's just a bit of a difficult ship to fit unless you bling it, because if you bling the heavy assault missiles to Caldari Navy, they consume less capacitor, they consume less power grid, and then it just overall goes a lot smoother because you can then fit a lot more stuff. Okay, so what have we got here? Devoted guys. Let's go for the. We'll go for the. I think we'll need to go Caldari Navy. Can we go for the Devoted Heralds over here because they're making application a bit worse? So I'm curious how this is going to go, because these are one of the waves that is going to be hurt a bit more than usual, just because they have a lot of incoming EM resist right here, and we have a very low EM damage, or EM resist. Sorry, so that's some decent application. Oh, for frigates, whoa! And he's guidance disrupting me as well. Maybe we could even get by with the rage on the cruisers. We'll see. Oof, look at that hits right there, and we've got so good range as well, which is great. Like 61 kilometer range, in fact. Really great. Are we getting perfect application? 1500, we're getting 700. What is his kinetic resist? Yeah, we're getting perfect application right here. Now we can boost up a little bit. We can test out with the Scourge Rage, see if we're able to apply decently to him. I'll be curious to see. And we're tanking also really great. We're not taking much damage because we're able to kite so nicely with the Cerberus in this case. Let's see now, what is his armor resist? 25%. Oof, I think we are doing perfect application. Oof, that is so nice to see. Absolutely annihilating these guys. And that's some decent hit, like 700 volley on a frigate. That's actually really good to see. Okay, never mind, now it's a lot worse, so we should use Caldari Navy now. Oh, we've got Tachyon Cloud right here going super fast. But oof, look at this application. I'm so happy with the application right here. For Dark Sight, without any webify, we do so good. And we're just able to just kite around like this. Now it's a bit easier to kite around with the Tachyon Cloud, but still. It feels so nice, just sniping these guys like nothing. Getting almost perfect application on them too. Yeah, we're getting pretty much perfect application with Caldari Navy on frigates. Sancho frigates, they are a bit easier to hit. I think it's just because of them being very shield based, so they have a big signature radius. Shield ships usually have big signature radiuses. And I'll move a little bit to the side. We'll just kite around really, sort of circular fashion. Yeah, this feels really great. Oof. This is so good. Having this great application, and we're just using a 380 million ISK ship. Now you have to also remember that we're using a billion plus implant pod, but just having the ship being this cheap feels so great. feels really great, actually. I wonder if we could actually use a shield boost amplifier, because that might be able to like make us consume less capacitor and also give more shield boosting. But I think it might be better just to go with the multispectrum. Is always good to have a bit of a buffer, you know. Some bling one even. Pith A type maybe. You get 130 million HP per second. But look at that EM resist, would be really nice to have it a bit higher. Let's go to the next room. Oof, our DPS is 627 with Caldari Navy. That's the DPS we have with an Onyx with Rage. And the great thing about this ship is that it has so good range, so we're able to do damage really quickly. We don't have to get close to anything, we just do damage straight away. It's like now, I just decide to, okay, I'm gonna shoot, and look, I'm doing damage now. It's that easy. Maybe I go towards this speed cloud over here. Actually, no, I don't want that. Not the speed cloud, the blue cloud, but I actually will not do that because it's better to get a better representation of what kind of damage you would do. Fogcaster probably. I think Fogcaster does Gaia Disruptor, or maybe he does Sensor Damps. I can't remember. Oh no, we've got Tachyon Cloud. So many Tachyon Clouds just make everything so horrible. Yeah, it is this Fogcaster who does application, makes the application worse. Oof, look at them flying. And we're hardly having to use any kind of shield boosting as well, because we just run around them and snipe them. It would be a bit scary if we get caught. That's the thing I worry a bit about. If we get caught somehow, and then we're not able to tank it. But I think we should be able to tank stuff in the dark side at least. Need to keep moving. Now the application is not so good to this little frig over here, Fogcaster. Let's go for this Spark Needle. Or Spark Lance. Yeah, pretty simple, pretty simple. It feels nice. The downside I see with this is that we're not brute force so tanky. Like, we would need to have a bit better shield booster and maybe better multi-spectrums or something like that to be a bit better like brute force tank, because I feel like if I'm using a really good implant set, I wouldn't want to rely on like keeping range and just being speedy to avoid damage, because that can fail a lot easier than a good tank will. Because a good tank is a good tank. You just take damage all the time. But I feel like if we are put in situations where there's like high neuters and just a lot of DPS, we could perhaps die in maybe a Cinderbell wave, especially because I'm just thinking mostly about this very low EM resist. That's just scaring me a bit. And then I wouldn't want to risk a good implant set, because for example, my T4 Hybrid Gila is a really solid ship, really good tank, and if I use it with the high grade Nirvana clone, I feel very confident on using that, because like it's in a similar fashion. Like I have a cheap Gila and I have a very expensive clone to do the T4 Firestorms, and I actually feel very confident doing that because it's just so tanky, that ship. There's like, okay, I can still make fails and I'm still gonna have no problem tanking, because I know that I will be able to tank. It's not like I'm relying on my skill to be able to keep range. It's not really much skill required to tank a lot. It's just pressing the buttons, really. Like you could argue that it's okay, this pressing buttons is required to kite a lot, but it's a lot easier to, I feel like, go in the wrong direction and just to completely ruin your whole kiting experience. I mean, it's not like we're really kiting a lot here, but we're sort of relying on the dark side to keep us away from stuff or damage, because we had 300 DPS tank in Piffa. If I had that in other filaments that are non-darks, I would be a bit, I would not feel that great using that kind of tank here. Short range D1 automatic suppressor. Let's go with this because it's going to make it a lot smoother. You can see how it feels to use Cerberus against a rogue drone spawn in a D1 automatic suppressor. But they go down super fast in the short range one. Keep a range 500. Yeah, come on now. Oof. Popped. I wonder actually if it's possible maybe to have, you upgrade this, don't have to upgrade it crazily a lot, but maybe you upgrade some multi-spectrums and the shield booster a bit, and you still keep the high grade Hydra. You can maybe do T5 darks. Maybe. Could be an option. Like so you maybe have, I don't know, like a sub 1 bill-isk ship. Although obviously the pod is going to be very expensive, so that's an unfortunate thing. But you'd still be able to get some decent. Oh, look at that! We're taking a lot of damage right here. It's like this kind of stuff. You wouldn't feel comfortable having this kind of tank really low when you're in a really big, like a very expensive pod like we're in right now. But I think that if we upgrade the tank a bit, we could definitely go for T5. Because I feel like the speed of destroying stuff is really good. So I don't see that we would have much issues doing the same thing in T5. Okay. Pop that. And pop this one as well. But I think this whole concept of using expensive pod, cheap ship is really cool because it's a bit more relaxing to do them. Like say you were to do them and know that, okay, I get ganked, okay, at least if you're lucky and get out with with your pod, then you've not lost a whole lot. It's mainly just okay, your ship is just like a couple of hours or an hour or two of grind and you get your ship back. You have to also be careful that some of these ganks, they do have smart bombs and they want to kill clones as well. But it would be a lot more stress-free. But I'm really impressed with the application right here. I'm really happy actually how good this ship is able to apply with the high-grade Hydras at any kind of weather fight. Just the rigs. That's the only application module we've got. So T4 Dark, expensive pod, cheap ship, 380 million-isk ship, doing T4 Darks pretty smoothly. Felt quite tanky, but I felt like it could be a bit tankier. It could be a bit tankier, and that's one thing I like about the Onyx is that it is a bit tankier than this ship right here. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.